Hello, everyone. How are you doing today? Happy New Year. I know it's been the longest first week of January, I feel like I've ever experienced. Um, but, you know, we are glad that you're here. I think I saw that we already had about 18 plus people live with us in Twitch. So feel free to comment in the chat. Let us know who you are, what brought you here today. And we really hope that this session can be one that, one, if you're a part of our free code camp groups in Oklahoma, welcome. And if you're not, and you maybe saw on Meetup or elsewhere kind of this call to, hey, I'm learning how to code and I'm looking for a community. I'm here in Oklahoma. Who are the people I should join? Welcome if this is your first time here. So we're excited to have you. Um, so just real briefly, kind of who we are. I'm Kyrin Garcia. I'm one of the volunteers with Techlahoma. I was a former board member, and we'll get a little bit more into me later. But I'll be playing your MC for today to really introduce you to a community of people through Techlahoma and Free Code Camp Oklahoma who are here to help you, and we're also looking, for volunteers to help others because one thing that we've learned in the last few years has been that there's a community of people that are helping others to learn how to code, to get into new jobs, to expand their opportunities. And though you can do it completely alone, we do have others who want to be a part of helping you do that. So the slide right here, kind of the Free Code Camp Oklahoma, who we are, what is this group for? As an update to some people, we used to have various meetups throughout the state of Oklahoma, in Oklahoma City, Tulsa, Norman. I believe in the past there may have been a group in Muskogee and elsewhere. And we decided, why not just combine forces? We're all in a virtual environment right now due to COVID, and it's kind of proved to just help expand the network so that we can help people in different ways. So if you're getting started in coding, if you're looking for that first tech job in as a developer, if you're just starting your career in development and you know that you need to continue to learn along the way, or if you're willing to teach and mentor others, that's a big component of our Free Code Camp Oklahoma group, is the ability to have peers that can provide peer programming, assistance, feedback, thoughts, expertise in order to help others. And I mean, really anyone can participate. If this just seems like something that's exciting and new to you, we'd love to have you a part of our community and really working with us alongside helping others and learning. So why Free Code Camp? We started using freecodecamp.org a number of years ago because personally for me, I really like the layout of it. When it comes to teaching people new things, we all learn differently. And there's this aspect of, what you're learning, a space for you to code, and what the output looks like. So you're really getting the input output availability in the curriculum. That's what is a cool thing to me about freecodecamp.org that you can utilize. And again, because people learn in different ways, whether it's reading, videos, articles, discussion boards, there's just a lot of different opportunities for you to do that alongside other people within the freecodecamp.org site. So I just want to check really quick if there's been any questions in the chat. I want to make sure that I get to those. I'm operating on one monitor right now, which I know is not something that we're always doing, but I just want to make sure that I'm not missing anyone. So looks like we're still good. Well, we have a whole group of people that are going to be joining me today. This is just not about me. Again, it's about that community I mentioned. And so that community really falls under one larger umbrella. So if you joined us today and you're brand new, we are a part of Techlahoma. Techlahoma's mission is to enrich Oklahoma's technologists of all backgrounds through education, connection, and opportunity. We are a nonprofit here in the state of Oklahoma. And as a part of that, then there are all of these user groups that are underneath Techlahoma. So Free Code Camp Oklahoma is one of those. We just mentioned before we got started that there's a hardware OKC group that had a meetup recently. We just started an entrepreneurship and tech meetup. And so those really fall under this larger organization. If you'd like to learn more, you can go to techlahoma.org. And then the biggest thing we do always want to make sure people know is we do have a code of conduct for all of our meetups, for our live sessions, and mainly that's making sure that we treat each other with dignity and respect as we're in our presentations. There are no dumb questions. There is nothing that you can't ask, but we ask that you just be respectful of one another in our sessions. So because we're part of this larger entity, Techlahoma, that spans all of Oklahoma and sometimes outside of Oklahoma when some of our peers leave. We've had that recently with some people going remote. It's really important for our volunteers to be a part of this foundation. We have a board that is providing leadership and strategic direction, but our volunteers are really at the core of what we do and how we can help people, specifically when it comes to freeCodeCamp Oklahoma. So I'd like to introduce a few of our volunteers who are going to introduce themselves and kind of some of the things that they've seen in the past and ideas for the future. And we invite you to ask questions in the chat. So the first person I will introduce is Chris C.
Hey everyone. Like Kristen said, my name is Chris. I'm currently one of the co-organizers for freeCodeCamp Oklahoma, one of the OKC representatives. Let's see. I joined the group, or I first started attending meetups for freeCodeCamp OKC back in around 2017, and gradually got more involved because I liked what people were doing there, and I got a lot of help from community members at the time, and I'd like to give back even if just a little. So right now, I'm working as a software engineer at Oracle, coming up almost 2 years in a couple more months. And I have listed a few hobbies, if you can call them that. Let's see. Yeah, that's about it. I have my website there, chrisc.io. You can find all my links to stuff like GitHub and LinkedIn and all that if you want to contact me there. But Slack and Twitter are probably the easiest ways to get in touch. Yes, that's
Thank
about
you. You're like, and that's it. Man, a few words, but super helpful. So thanks, Chris. Next, we have Alex, who is joining us also as one of our co-organizers for freeCodeCamp Oklahoma.
Hey everyone, my name is Alex Aon. I think I first joined Techlahoma right around 2017, like Chris was saying. I moved to the state of Oklahoma for work, to work at a biopharmaceutical company. And I was always interested in, especially in college. And as soon as I attended, I think it was Code for OKC at the time, we had a group there. And that's what kind of introduced me to Techlahoma as a whole. And I saw it as a place where volunteers were willing to donate their time to kind of bring you in and teach you everything they know and learn something along the way with you. So I think Techlahoma is a great place for you to learn, and it's a great place to find mentors as well. So currently I'm a software engineer at Anonix, and I think I attribute a lot of my career change from biotechnology to software engineering due to my involvement with Techlahoma. And currently, I'm very interested in anything Python, so that Django Fast API, but I'm also interested in a bit of .NET. And there's a few contacts there for anybody who wants to reach out to me. Yeah, Techlahoma is a great organization. Recently, someone in one of our Slack channels was doing an interview, and they were given some coursework material to work on prior to the interview. And they reached out on the Slack channel, and I think I was able to help them out for like 2 hours. So that's the kind of organization that we are. We're willing to donate our time to get you where you want to be. So, thanks.
Thanks, Alex. Great reminders that it's more than just teaching, right? It's that element of just support and networking. And I'd also like to introduce our other co-organizer, Kimberly Collins, which you'll probably see a lot in our Twitch chat when she can provide a lot of helpful information. Kimberly?
Yes, and also find me in Slack. That's the best way to get a hold of me. I'm helping out with the group as an OKC representative, like Kristen said, as a co-organizer. I've been involved with the group since we started freeCodeCamp Oklahoma City several years ago. So I've also been a developer for going on 15 years now. I've been working with C# and SQL Server for most of that. I organize tech events. I speak at some of them. I've taught in different capacities. So I definitely enjoy being part of the community, and I'm willing to help out. You can also see, usually my dog's behind me, but she's in my picture there, and you can find her in my Slack picture too. And feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn and GitHub.
Thank you, Kimberly. So I wanted to point out real quick, just with the 3 co-organizers that introduced themselves, I mean, we're looking at people who have been in development and software development for a number of years, all the way to those who are self-taught. And so you'll continue to see that in some of the descriptions of people who we have listed as our volunteers and other members of Techlahoma and freeCodeCamp Oklahoma. And I say that because if you're new to this or you've been around, this is a great opportunity for you to see that it doesn't matter how new or old you are to technology, that you can get involved in these groups as well. So next, do we have John Jordan with us on the call?
Yes, I am here. I am John Jordan. I live in the Tecumseh area, so outside the metro, but I got involved with Techlahoma at the beginning of 2019, roughly, and I've been kind of learning and growing with this group, and decided this year that I'd like to help out and volunteer in any areas that I'm available to or can do that, and currently working with Python. So.
Thanks, John. And again, John's one of our newer volunteers, so it's awesome to see someone from Tecumseh getting involved with us. Next, we have Ryan Quinn. Was Ryan able to join us? There you are.
I am. All right, so I'm up in Tulsa. So if anyone's up in Tulsa, I'll be around. I'm a systems architecture and engineering at Video Modify. I do a program in Go, Python, do some Perl, SQL. So, and I'm kind of one of the weird ones in that I'm not a true developer. Like a lot of people around will be true developers, but I'm come from more of the operations side of things. I don't remember when I started with freeCodeCamp. It's been a while, but I originally started with it in order to learn about web application development in order to be able to troubleshoot them and basically diagnose them. So a couple things I do aside from technology, like food, running, soccer, writing, and just tinkering with different things.
Thank you, Ryan. All right, next we have Caleb Dunn.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Caleb, as Kristen said. Similar to Ryan, I'm not a developer by trade. I'm actually a product analyst, aspiring to be a product manager for a healthcare IT company. Got into tech back in college when I was in pharmacy school, realized I had loved it, and just ever since then have played around with it. Love diving into Python, trying to learn React right now. Got involved in this group middle of 2019, and Alex and Chris were both very much promoted me to become more active because they were so willing to collaborate and assist and just be great individuals to communicate with. So I'm excited to give back to the community. And as with Ryan, I'm part of the Tulsa area.
Our Tulsa representation. I love it. So those are some of the people you'll see on a number of the meetups. We'll go over a little bit more about that in a little bit. But we also want to talk a little bit more about our just Techlahoma community highlights, because again, one of the really cool things about freeCodeCamp Oklahoma, as well as Techlahoma, is just the variety of organizations you can be a part of, people you can meet, things you can learn. You've already heard from our volunteers a little bit about their technical background. And so first I'd like to introduce our Techlahoma president is Kendall Watts.
Hello. Yeah, that's me. That's the only good picture of me from the past 5 years. So, I am the Techlahoma president. I'm a full stack developer for Bayer Crop Sciences, but I was previously a chemical engineer for 10 years. And just about a year and a half ago, I decided to make the switch. And I really love it. I'm very excited about it. So I'm excited about all the freeCodeCamp people who are also trying to make a change. So go you all. So we're trying to be very supportive of people who are trying to get into tech, especially this year. And moving forward, we're hoping to do more entry-level workshops, more things to get people started, and we're even looking at some sort of like mid-career internship program for people who are changing career paths. So just stay connected to Techlahoma, and hopefully we can get you all the resources you need. Yeah, I'm also married. I got 2 kids, and I didn't put, I noticed Chris said he liked to cook and stuff. I didn't put that on there, but I also like to cook. I like to brew beer. I'm in a competition with one of the other board members, so we'll tell you about it later, I'm sure. All right. Anyway, say hi on Slack.
Thanks, Kendall. All right, next we have another one of our newest board members, Devin Mowgli.
Hey everyone, my name is Devin Mowgli. I am a full stack developer here in Oklahoma City. I joined Techlahoma in 2018, kind of getting involved more kind of from the entrepreneurship side, but also learning how, to become a better developer and learning new things. And also, I am a self-taught developer. I have a degree in philosophy. And so I have kind of continued to commit to being involved with anything educational as far as like helping people learn how to code and transition their skill sets over to technology in whatever way. I currently am the CTO of a startup called Smarter Firms. We are in the legal space. I also do consulting also in software. I write primarily in JavaScript and PHP. I'm currently learning Python. I have a lot of desire to get in kind of the data science, data engineering side of things, particularly in biotech. That's kind of where I want to see my career go. And so if that's a topic of interest of you, then we can certainly talk. I also am really passionate about seeing people kind of tap into that entrepreneurial side of things, into seeing one great thing about development is that we can create like stuff, like products on the side that can make us money and help us support our families, like without giving ourselves a bunch of time to it. And so, or even seeing things like new technology companies and different things like that pop up in our different ecosystems, whether it's a rural area, Tulsa, Oklahoma City, or even just some other ecosystem. I really like that just as a topic and as an initiative for our community. And so really like jumping into freeCodeCamp Oklahoma, you'll find people coming at it from all different ways, whether it's people who just want, a good paying job to help support themselves, or whether it's people looking at kind of bigger projects like we are. And so, you can talk to any one of us about any of these types of topics. I am a new Techlahoma board member. I'm excited about that because I use Techlahoma in my professional life, like just connecting people to resources, connecting people to other people, connecting people to other groups, that kind of thing. And so if I had to give just a quick bit of advice on how to use freeCodeCamp or Techlahoma or any other the communities here that are giving up time, is just to be really, really proactive in talking to people, because everyone's amazing and conversations will continue to be had. And one of the things that we look at from the Techlahoma side is actually individual conversations. How many of those are happening on like the Slack channel and that kind of thing. So continue to ask questions, continue to reach out, don't be scared, and let your voice be heard.
Thank you, Devin. I'm actually next. So, I'm Kyrin Garcia. I work for Francis Tuttle Technology Center, and I actually got started with Techlahoma in about 2018, thanks to Kimberly and Chris, while working at the OU Innovation Hub, and became a co-organizer for freeCodeCamp Norman. And so I'm really excited to see kind of the Oklahoma Free Code Camp group get spun up just because that really helps us to reach all corners of the state. And I know that was kind of a vision while I served on the Techlahoma board for the last 2 years on how do we make sure that we impact more people throughout the state. There's a lot of great programs and opportunities that are now kind of spinning up out of people talking about kind of the new economy for Oklahoma. You know, we've been so focused on oil and gas, and how do we get more people trained and prepared for the technology industry. I know Alex and Devin mentioned biotech. A lot of different entrepreneurial endeavors have popped up because of COVID. And so, how do we continue to create the entry level developers that could go into possibly some of these startups who are creating some really cool, innovative ways of solving problems in the world, all the way to getting people into new businesses that are starting that need more technology support, or businesses that are realizing they have to pivot right now. So, a little bit about me is I probably add a little bit of the entrepreneurship and workforce development arm to Techlahoma, and trying to connect people within that aspect. So if anything, I'll let you guys know if you're wanting to start a business, let me know. If you're wanting to get connected to better ways on how to prepare for job opportunities, I work with a couple of other members of Techlahoma to do monthly webinars about getting into tech, finding tech jobs, and we'll be partnering with freeCodeCamp Oklahoma to make sure that we get that information out to all of you. So you also can hit me up on Slack or Twitter or LinkedIn, whichever works best for you. Next, we have Luke, who's joining us.
Hello. Hey, my name is Luke. I am also in Tulsa. I am a privacy and security engineer at Mozilla, Techlahoma board member. And I got started in Techlahoma long time ago, kind of before there was a thing. I was doing Tulsa web devs, and then Techlahoma started in OKC, and a bunch of our friends in OKC kind of invited Tulsa web devs to become part of Techlahoma and started making it statewide. So we started doing that probably 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago. I don't know. I mean, you know, just a couple years ago. I'm only 22, 23. So yeah, you might see me haunting around Slack, and I think that's about it.
Thank you, Luke. All right, so that's a little bit about kind of everyone who's on this call. Also, just to show you guys the variety of backgrounds, interests, and to personalize it. I know Devin said there's a lot of offline conversations happening with our Slack channel right now, which is awesome. But we also know it might be uncomfortable to randomly ping somebody you don't know. So I think if anything, and maybe everyone could give me a thumbs up if you agree, we basically all say contact us on Slack. So is that right from our speakers? So don't be afraid to do that. And it's probably weekly I get a message that says, hey, you said I could reach out to you on a webinar or a meetup. I'm totally fine with that. So our meetups, what has been really cool over the last, I would say probably year and a half, and Kimberly and Chris and Alex can kind of add in the chat if there's anything that they can think of. But we've seen this variety of types of meetups populate. In the past, it may have just been straight lecture, present on something cool or badass that you're working on, and you want to let others know. And to now we have panels. We're bringing in groups of people that are having discussions about projects, about how they learned how to create something, maybe how they solved a problem. We're having lightning talks that might be just a quick, hey, I just want to give you a 5-minute rundown of something that I made and I have questions. Or I made this cool thing for Twitch to look at my subs and I want to show you guys what I made. And we were having a lot of those happen as well as our 20 to 45-minute talks. And so now we're just trying to let everyone know, really in 2021, you're going to see that variety, because we want it to, one, be in a setting that's comfortable for all of you, but then two, we want you to speak as well. Kimberly will probably be the person the most who's saying, we need another speaker, we need another speaker. And you might think, I can't present on anything, but trust us, there's something you learned yesterday that is more than what somebody else knows as of right now. So you sharing that knowledge is really important. A past board member mentioned that one of her presentations that she gave with a Techlahoma user group was streamed and shared, and that was kind of a calling card for a recruiter. They said, this is somebody we need, and we need them to be able to present themselves well and to talk through the tech. And that was really a way for her to get a new job opportunity. So there's more to it than just necessarily presenting and sharing something, but it's more teaching, educating, and then potentially networking and taking that next step moving forward. So I know Kimberly put a couple of things in chat where, again, we're always looking for people to speak at those meetups. We have the meetup link there, not only just for freeCodeCamp, but for all of Techlahoma. And we really encourage you to just try to present. And it can be on anything, because you would be surprised. Recently, was it this past summer, I believe we had a group in Tulsa that presented on imposter syndrome. So are we constantly doubting ourselves and not allowing ourselves to move forward? So don't feel that always necessarily needs to be super coding focused, programming focused, but it might be something that you've learned that you just want to share for other people who are also learning or also kind of going up the pipeline in a business opportunity for jobs. So we have our meetups in really informal gatherings as well. So those are more the formal, and our informal, we do office hours. Sometimes we have what is called a hack and learn. And that's really bring in stuff and let's talk through it. Let's have those who have been developers give you that feedback that maybe you haven't wanted to ask for. So again, I think in the idea of Techlahoma and our code of conduct, we want to provide a safe space so that people feel comfortable to come and ask. We have code-alongs, our kind of ride-alongs of coding. I think in the past, we've done some of these over coffee or at a local library, but with COVID, we're trying to do everything as much as possible online until we can get back to that. We'll do meet and greets, and that might just be, a one-on-one conversation that you have. And then just like Alex said, those spontaneous Slack calls. So with Techlahoma's Slack membership, we are able to do calling. We can have small meetups within Slack. So don't ever be afraid, and I know it's been shared a couple times in the chat, to come into the hashtag freeCodeCamp channel and just say, hey, is somebody available for a call? I have a question. And there's only so much you can do from typing. So feel free, pick up the phone, quote unquote, and just ask somebody a question versus feeling like you have to sit there. And that might be a tip, if anything I can provide, is if you've been stressing out about something for 10 to 15 minutes and you don't know the answer, ask somebody in Slack and say, can we get on a call? Don't sit there and stress out about it for hours or nights. I see Kimberly nodding her head. She's like, yep, come and reach out to us. So, feel free to use that to what's going to work more for you. So when we talk about our meetup groups, some of the meetup groups, again, that we recommend through Techlahoma for you to join, of course, freeCodeCamp Oklahoma. And the link, as Kimberly posted for Techlahoma for meetup, will take you to that directly. Again, because of the volunteers in the community, OKC Web Devs, Tulsa Web Devs have been a great part of support for FreeCamp Oklahoma, mostly because the freecodecamp.org curriculum is focused mainly around web development as it gets you started. OKC Design and Tech, they're also a great group that started about 2 years ago. And in the idea of user experience, UI, kind of that industrial psychology element of technology, I would really recommend that group as something new and up and coming. And I can't remember now because now all of a sudden the slides are going away from my mind, but we do have a UX conference coming up. So, Tulsa UX and OKC design and tech kind of go hand in hand in having that mission. And then we also have She Codes Tulsa. We've had She Codes Oklahoma City in the past. We haven't had as many active people, I think, because of COVID. But if that's something that you want to focus on in OKC, or if not, because we're virtual, please join the She Codes Tulsa meetups as well. All right, let me make sure I'm not missing anything in the chat. Thank you, Kimberly, for sharing the UX OK link. That will help us out a lot. So how to get involved in the meetups. So you'll want to go to techlahoma.org/learn. So if you are brand new to coding or you're just getting started, that techlahoma.org/learn site is really going to give you a lot of information on what do I do. When people come to freeCodeCamp meetups, at least in my experience, it's been I've tried 5 different ways of learning how to code, and I don't know what to do anymore. I've gone down the rabbit hole of YouTube videos, and I'm not ready to sign up for a boot camp. And so we really kind of started to put that one site together in the idea of just getting people started on what to do. Here's stories from other people, what's going to work best for you because we're all different. Make sure that you're a part of Twitch, our Twitch channel. You're already here now, so if you have one of those awesome Amazon Prime subs that you would love to give us, we would love to have you subscribe to Techlahoma. There are talks happening all the time on the stream, so you can stay connected and participate in the chat. And then what we do is we download those videos and we add them into our YouTube. So if you could subscribe to YouTube's Techlahoma page, that would also be beneficial. And we've had our content volunteers do a great job of really organizing a lot of the videos within that YouTube channel so that you can find what makes most sense for you. Follow up with any past speakers on Slack or LinkedIn. So as you're watching those videos on YouTube or see something on Twitch, don't be afraid to say, hi, I just watched your Techlahoma talk on XYZ, and I'd love to connect with you so that you can be able to talk to them. Volunteer for a lightning talk. Give that short talk of about 4 to 5 minutes, whatever you feel comfortable with. Start to share and communicate how you're learning, how you're coding, and that will not only help you just grow in what you're learning, but it's something you'll be asked to do when you're looking for that first job in technology. Share links to any of our events that are upcoming. Social media is a great way that we connect with people. Twitter seems to be the more active social media platform for a lot of people in the tech industry. So if you don't have a Twitter account, we invite you to make one. Follow Techlahoma, the UX conference, freeCodeCamp Oklahoma. We both have our own Twitter handles. So please share those. Let people know, because a big part of what we've also been focusing on the last 2 years or 3 years has really been getting our name out there. A lot of people don't know Techlahoma exists, and everyone in a way is kind of coding in silence in their own house. And so how do we get people connected so that we can help everyone feel like they're not alone in doing this? And then the other way to get involved is to volunteer. One of our biggest needs is we need more stream volunteers. So if you have a friend in gaming or you're in gaming and you're used to being on Twitch, we'd love to have you volunteer to help so that we can put this content out there. Or if you want to learn and you have the hardware requirements to do it, we have a team of people who would love to be able to teach you so that we can have help. Marketing, like I said, letting people know on social media, letting people know in your community about our meetups is really important. And we also need help in exporting those videos and getting them into YouTube. So maybe you're just starting to learn and you're thinking, I can't volunteer and say that I'm this like coding expert. We're not asking for that. It's more about how can you volunteer to just be part of the community and help others to connect and get to know more about Techlahoma and what we're doing. And I say that being the least technical person on this call. That is not my background. And so though I've been going slowly through the freeCodeCamp.org curriculum, if I can help in different ways, that's really why I've been a part of this community, because we need more people in technology in the state of Oklahoma, and I think Techlahoma is that organization to make sure that's happening. All right, so a couple of upcoming events, and feel free to ask questions in the chat, because we want to make sure that we're answering anything that pertains to what brought you here, so don't be shy. But a couple of those upcoming events, like we mentioned, tomorrow night is our Entrepreneurship and Tech Meetup. This is now our 3rd meetup. Pretty small group, but we've had some really good conversations based on the needs of people who want to start businesses or have a business. Tulsa UX meets usually Tuesday nights, and so their January meetup is this week. On the 18th, so the following week, we have our Tulsa Web Devs monthly meetup, and then freeCodeCamp OK, which brought you here today. We're having lightning talks on the 24th. So again, we're looking for people to speak. We'd love to have you there. Kimberly's popping in the chat all the meetups in case you would like to click on those. Wednesday the 27th, we have OKC Design and Tech doing UX research. And then at the very end of the month, we have She Codes Tulsa SQL. So it doesn't mean that there won't be more that will pop up, because a lot of times our meetups are kind of planning as they're finding their speakers as well. So really that main meetup.com/pro/Techlahoma, I believe is the link. That will show you everything, but Kimberly is adding those different comments or different links in the chat for you guys right there. Looks like Code with Sean also added the Tulsa Developers Meetup that is coming up. So thanks for adding that. So that is mainly it. I mean, we wanted to leave the rest of the session just for questions. If any of our guests who joined us and our organizers have any other thoughts, we'd love you to share any of that so that we can just make sure. If anything, this is, I think, going to be a great video just to kick off the year for anyone who is new to Techlahoma and anyone who's kind of wanting to make that change in 2021 or working on their continuous change of 2020 and learning about coding. So we had a question added to the chat. Is there a specific language this group focuses on, or is it any and all languages and frameworks? So I don't know if Kimberly, Chris, or Alex would want to pick up on a little bit more of what freeCodeCamp.org focuses on. Go ahead.
I'll answer that. freeCodeCamp.org starts you with HTML, CSS, and you can move to JavaScript. They've also added Python recently. We have people who work with lots of different other technologies, and then Techlahoma as a whole has groups, like you heard, for all different sorts of things. But this group specifically, I would say HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and Python.
Thank you, Kimberly. And I think thank you for asking that, DevTech, because that's usually what starts people down that rabbit hole. They've been told by so many people what to start with. And so I think that's maybe the beauty of freeCodeCamp.org is this, there is a pathway, and the pathway makes sense, and it doesn't send you down to many directions to confuse you. That's usually what causes a lot of people to stop, because they're just so frustrated by all of the options.
And in addition to just like specific languages or learning a JavaScript framework, stuff like that, we also like to focus or put more focus on actual job searching and things like that. For the past few months, I think Kristen was helping with doing our monthly kind of getting into tech webinars with Cecily, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And those, we also like to have people from the community give talks on different positions that they've worked in tech, because working in tech doesn't just mean being a software engineer. You have people working in design and UX. We have people working in project management, in um, tech support, IT, things like that. So if you are working in that kind of field, we'd also love to hear from you at one of our lightning talks, and let people know that, hey, this is a job that you can do.
Chris, thanks for mentioning that, because I feel like over the past year, we've also had a lot of people who have questions about getting into cybersecurity. And I know that's something that we have a number of programs in the state that people have gone through. We'd love to have people come and talk about that. It's not necessarily a focus, but a lot of this kind of leads down to that path, or that has to be an element of what you get involved in. Maybe you're a designer by trade, and not necessarily in technology. Is there something you could present at a design and tech meetup, just so that people understand a little bit more about utilizing Adobe for something? Because I think with more of us starting to do Twitch and marketing and social media for events and activities, I'd love a tutorial on kind of easy things to use with marketing tools that we're just not aware of. And as Chris said, with those other webinars, we had somebody talk about why they used one software to make their resume versus just doing it in Word. So, it could be anything that's just going to help everyone move forward. So don't be shy to offer that up. Any other questions? Thank you, Kimberly. And again, join us on Slack, because this should just be the start of you connecting with people. Don't feel like this is the end all be all. Zelda the Fool said, I'm trying to learn R for anything in data science. Do you have any tips for novice level R coders to start analyzing data sets or other things that might be immediately obvious? I'd like to pick that one up.
I'll take that one. That's probably a better question for like the data science group. They're the ones that really deal with all that. They do a lot of Python. There's some R people there, so they'd be able to help out.
And also, kind of in the idea that we're a growing community, I would like to plug the OU Libraries has a couple people that work on their team and host our workshops. I know that's usually specifically for graduate researchers, but I'm sure if you contact their kind of tech team at the OU Library, they could probably find you somebody, because I know there's a number of different recommendations they have for people. And then Kimberly's mentioning also like the Python workshop that's coming up with them. So yeah, that seems to be like one area we haven't necessarily found a larger community that's utilizing R that's wanting to talk. But Zelda the Fool, I would love if you find some good resources and they could come do like a talk to share more. It'd be great to start to have more information from local experts on what people should and shouldn't do and how they get started. So that would be awesome. Let's see, any JavaScript developers in this group currently? Is a question that was asked by Mr. Blue. I see a lot of smiles. Let's see, I saw Devin, Chris, Luke. I can't see everyone's pictures on my hand raised, so I'm sure there might be other people. Would any of you like to talk to that?
JavaScript developer.
Kendall? And Mr. Blue, do you have any specific questions about that, or are you just wanting to know who to ping? All right.
The entire FreeCodeCamp, let's see, the FreeCodeCamp channel, that's a great channel just for posting, any kind of general questions you might have. It can be quiet sometimes, and I think that some people might be nervous to post in there because, oh, no one else is talking, so maybe I shouldn't post there too. But that channel is definitely there for posting any coding questions you might have. And if none of us there know the answer, maybe we can look for it together or connect you with someone who does know.
And we also have the JavaScript channel, which focuses specifically on JavaScript as well. So if you can't find your answer in freeCodeCamp, you can always head on over to JavaScript channel.
Thank you, Alex. Yeah, and that's a good reminder. If you're ever in one of the Slacks and somebody says, hey, go here, don't feel like someone's just trying to brush you off. It might just be that they realize there's better experts in that other area. I think what's really cool is most of the freeCodeCamp volunteers and co-organizers have a variety of knowledge, but they're also not ashamed to say, like, ooh, that really may not be something I can try to make it up with you, but there's probably a better person. So that's a really cool part of it. So let's see, DevTech255 mentioned how do they get involved, and I see that everyone's kind of pinging. Yeah, come into Slack. So Techlahoma .com or Techlahoma, wait, slack.com/Techlahoma, or yeah, there you go, or slack.techlahoma.org. Come on in. I would immediately probably go to the hashtag freeCodeCamp channel first. That's a good way. I think you now get like a bot that pings you when you join that kind of says, hey, welcome, and might say a few things. One person that we haven't mentioned on here is we actually recently this past year hired a part-time community manager, Emily. So you might get a message from Emily Harden if you're brand new. And her job has been to kind of help in wrangling the cats. We got a lot of things happening, a lot of really cool stuff happening. And she has kind of been brought on to help to make sure everyone who is new has an idea of what they should be doing and how they can connect with people. And then from there, I mean, it could kind of go anywhere based on what your need is, dev tech. And you said you're kind of transitioning into the developer role. So it looks like you have a number of people, even from this call, that know exactly what that's like. And when you go to that techlahoma.org/learn channel, you're going to see a couple of talks from people that's exactly what happened to them. They just transitioned into having these roles in development. All right, so let's see. We have Hiro Chichiji. I probably didn't say that right. I'm right now learning Django REST framework. I also have learned React, and my chat keeps moving. In order to get an entry-level job with this skill set, should I have also a data science knowledge or machine learning knowledge? And I might let Kimberly speak to that a little bit for you.
I'm honestly not the best person to discuss this. I know Alex knows about the Django REST framework, but you are sort of getting outside of the main topics for this group. So we're still going to send you to a Slack channel in some way. I would ask this in the, I don't know if we have a Django channel. There's a data science channel. This is not my area, so I don't think I can answer.
I'll chime in on that. The answer is no. The machine learning and data science stuff is fairly separate from the web sphere. Like you're not going to use Django for the machine learning or like the data science part. You may use it as a front end to launch jobs, but they're really pretty different.
Thank you, Ryan.
You know, you
what I
can
would
add to
probably
that-
mention is, oh, and then I'll let, I think it was Devin was going to say something. A lot of it also might depend, have you found jobs that you want? Look for jobs that you actually want, and then see what those requirements kind of fall in line with. And Devin, I think you were going to say something.
Yeah, I was just going to add, I think something that we've talked about in other groups is it's really popular nowadays for people to, when they're getting into learning development, to also to learn kind of the back end side of that using Python, because that can easily pivot into like a data science track or an AI track later on in your career if you want it to. So that might be a pro for wanting to learn Python over JavaScript, but you're learning two languages in order to become a full, what we call full stack developer, right? So the other option being that you can just learn JavaScript and you have to learn different frameworks for backend, front end, and all of that, but you're learning only one actual development language.
Thank you, Devin. I feel like this, all of our panelists, we're almost able to cover everything. Almost. So this has been a really great group of people.
And if you have any questions you'd like to talk you'd like to talk a little bit more in depth about, we'll share the link to the call once we end the stream and all that. And then, yeah, some of us will stick around for a little bit.
Thank you. All right, guys. Well, we are 7 minutes to the top of the hour, so we'll take another few questions. DevTech asks, should I start with Python or basic web dev like HTML, CSS, etc.?
I think that depends on what their aim is. If they want to get a job as quickly as possible in development, I would say go for the web technologies first. I know in Oklahoma City, Python is probably gaining ground, but .NET is very popular. So I would learn the foundations, HTML, CSS, JavaScript. If you have the bandwidth for it, move into Python as well, if you could do that in parallel, but I would recommend the web stack first.
Thank you. I saw that someone asked if there was a Django channel. There is not. We have put on a couple of kind of entry, like getting started workshops focused on that. But as Kimberly said, also, this is a community-driven organization. So you can create a Slack channel and then always see who else finds it. And everything's constantly growing. Even kind of in our side Slack for this meeting, people are like, we need a biotech Slack channel so that we can get more into that. So, you'd be surprised at what people when COVID started, we started a Slack channel that was about working from home. And half the time it was posting pictures of weird office setups and pets and bad chairs and lunch. But that was just something to bring the community together because so much was happening. MacLB said, can someone with little to no experience in coding obtain a junior engineer job, or would you suggest building a portfolio first? I guess my question is, what is the best way to obtain experience for a job? Kimberly chimed in the chat, portfolio and projects and networking. And so if anybody in Kimberly would like to expand on that, feel free to do so.
Yeah, I can kind of expand on what I said. I think, the biggest piece of advice that I give people is just build stuff, because getting that experience of getting something from nothing to launch is extremely important. And a lot of times with development, the cool thing about the skill itself is that you can easily, at some point when you feel comfortable, leverage that as a way to pick up a side project for somebody, like a small business owner friend or someone looking for a website, and you can do it in the technology that you want to, or something like that. And then kind of slowly build up that snowball of experience that will eventually look good on a resume for a full-time job.
And to answer that first question, or that first bit, it is definitely possible for someone with, a completely, not tech-related background to, transition into that. We've definitely had members in the past of our group who have done so, and so it's definitely possible.
And I think it's been mentioned a number of times in the chat, projects, right? So build things that you need. If there's been a problem that you've seen and you want to build a solution, do it so that you can learn how to do it. And it's going to be a lot more fun if it's something that you just want to do. So if it's a silly bot to do something with your email, or maybe you want to create a website and then do something with it. Maybe you want to volunteer and offer a local business support to get them up and running with a website. It could be all of those little things that then turn into you feeling more comfortable so that you can then grow and then pick on other projects. One of the cool things that FreeCodeCamp will do in October is Hacktoberfest. And so as an international community, since freecodecamp.org is international, which it does have an Oklahoma City tie. The gentleman who started it, Quincy, is from Oklahoma City. everyone will say, these are projects we're working on, we're building this, we're doing that, who can take on little bits of it so that you can finalize somebody's project for them, like your own unofficial dev team. So feel free to get connected with us so that you can then learn about Hacktoberfest when that comes in October. And Kimberly shared the link for that. Yes, open source contribution. So one of the things that we didn't really get into, if you're brand new and you don't have a GitHub account yet, that if anything, I would say join Slack, get a GitHub account. Those would be the two things to kind of get you started on what you need to do once you start to join. And I just noticed all the nods. So I'm glad everyone's like, yeah, that's true. Because then that's where you're going to build that portfolio of what you're working on. Awesome, Dev Tech. All right, guys, we are at 2:59. I want to thank everyone who joined us, all of our community members, our volunteers, our co-organizers for planning today's talk. And to all of you who are new to Techlahoma, to freeCodeCamp Oklahoma and coding, we welcome you to connect with everyone. Don't be shy. We want to help you, and everyone's level of help is different, but if it helps you to get to that next level, we want to be able to do that to support kind of what's happening within our community. So thank you guys so much. Have a great afternoon.